can I ask, when you were at the club, did you see any foul play or referee reports that might suggest there was any wrongdoing?
Sorry?
When you were at the club, did you see any sort of referee reports that might suggest there was any wrongdoing at all or not?
You were so young. You didn't see this team how good play football, my friend. It wasn't a scandal the way we're playing. We won all the titles because we were much better than the opponent.
Talk yo shit, Pep. Mans, for the sake of social media journalism, tried to get Pep to speak on illegal activities. What? Whoever that was tried to get Pep to snitch on his old family, which is one of the many reasons why Pep doesn't like y'all. Then this was asked, which hilarious enough was taken out of the official Man City presser interview. It's the clip that made all of the rounds. You all just got the ha 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 ha, you're so funny. But here is what preceded that.
I know you're not a big fan of individual awards in football, but in 10 days we have the Ballon d'Or and two incredible stories at least. Messi with Argentina, Haaland here with a treble. If you had a vote, who would you vote for?
You are so funny. Always I said that the Ballon d'Or had to be two sections. One for Messi. Done. And after look for the other one.
Pep knows the vibes. He's saying the vibes. Obviously, you root for Messi when he's on your side. And Pep even said, hey, I'm a little biased, but I think Haaland, who helped us win this treble, he scored like 50 million goals. That was what he said, 50 million goals. This energy that Pep is given this season, it's truly fantastic. I love it. But what I will say is that Pep is a better man than I am, because one, you try to get me to like snitch or hate on my old previous team, even though anything I would say would have to deal with my time there. And secondly, you just are either trying to get me to slight my old homie Messi or get me to be messy with my current player. I don't know. I just feel like there are so many other, again, topics that you guys could go to. I'm not going to delve too much deeper in it, but I'm again going to say, reporters, whoever you guys are, I don't memorize your names. I don't memorize your voices. People at me and tell me who you are. I don't care. Do better.
I hate the most is when you don't want the ball.
We're making art over here, baby. Capitalize that.
You have permission to make a mistake. You have permission to lose. You have permission.
And that's when we get big.
Yeah, I'm a genius.
I'm a genius.
Attack everyone and send everyone.
I think we're forgetting the most important thing. We're forgetting about focusing just on ourselves.
But we can do better. We need to take the next step, and there's no better place than taking the next step here.
Show ourselves out there how much we want to win it again.
We win 4 of the last 5 Premier League, guys. 4 of the last 5 Premier League. Are we going to do it again?
Yes.
Don't ask me again about doubles, triples, quadruples, fifth-tuples, six-tuples, and seven-tuples. So
Don't do it. Hey, and welcome to episode 73 of Shades of Blue.
A lot of niggas debating my numero, not the 3, not the 2 on the UNO.
We are the most comprehensive Manchester City podcast covering both the men's and women's game, spanning from the Atlantic Ocean to the Rocky Mountains. We making art over here. Capitalize the A. Before we get into anything at all, what I need you to do right now, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up for us. Show some love. Leave a comment on what you thought of the episode. Maybe a retort to something one of us said. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, all those other Podifys, those good pod apps, please give us that 5-star rating. 5 stars, or what's the point? Give us a review. I see you guys are giving us the rates. Please, can we step up on the reviews? That's like a double up with the rating. I love what you're doing with the 5 stars. I don't want to minimize what that is, and I don't want to take away from that. But I push you guys for a review or two. Thank you. Looking forward to seeing you all this Thursday. Tap into our lit stream, your new favorite nighttime show about football. Every week, we bring 3 new guests into Shady Game, taking them on one at a time. Show starts at 7 p.m. Central Time. We give each guest proper, I'm saying latitude and longitude for lititude. You know, I just love my stupid little phrases. I love it because normally we try to just bring one guest on that's a Man City fan. Others support other clubs, which I feel adds a nice depth and spontaneity to the show. And after saying what I said, our guests this week, they are all City supporters. Shout out to Citizens Fancast, Colby of Snobby Boys Pod, and Vader Games, who is Canadian. And last week we had Kate Chickshalar. Shout out to her, who is also Canadian. So this is like back-to-back weeks of Canucks. We just out here. Lit stream, the link is in the show notes. And then on Sunday, which I will get to later, we will be doing a Manchester Derby watch along. So look forward to that. But in today's episode, we will start the match talking about some baby blue baddies. Tom Bomb isn't here, meaning we are going to do our best. We're going to keep it a little light. We're not going to get too detailed. I wasn't able to take the notes like I normally do because I let Tom Bomb do his thing. But they won. They were on top of the league for, like 24-ish hours until Chelsea reluctantly defeated a squad. I know the scoreline looks like the scoreline, but they really... I'm going to say
We're
now.
still on top of the table by goal difference.
Oh, are we?
Yeah, we both have 10 points, but we got we have an 8 goal
See, that's what I'm
differential.
saying. We ain't worried
They only
about
have
them.
5. We
And
both
we
teams
got-
have scored 9 goals, but we've only given up 1.
And I know there are clubs who also played Bristol City, and they only did so against them. I'm just saying there's some conversations that still need to be had. From there, we will go to the men. We'll talk about the men. They played a match. They beat down Brighton. We out here. I love that. Things I love to see. We can't keep a clean sheet though. Shout out to Adam. We are allergic to clean sheets. It is what it is. From there, we're going to preview the Champions League at the Wankdorf Stadium against the Young Boys, along with the Premier League on the weekend. Manchester Derby, people. Speaking of the Manchester Derby, it's time for this month's watch along. For the City Men, join us. We will be having a live watch along, a watch party for Manchester City versus Manchester United this Sunday. The show will start 30 minutes before kickoff, giving us ample time to talk about the starting 11s, get our spicy takes out before the insanity begins. I want to say shout out to the homie Sky. She is a United supporter. She's doing her thing on TikTok. She will be our guest, hoping to bring in maybe another United supporter or two to even things out. But if not, Sky will be fantastic. If you want to, find her on TikTok. It's at Sunshine FC. It is time to let you know what these baby blue baddies are doing to them. First off, like we said before, Tarek corrected me. We're still top of the table with goal difference. Shout out to Bristol City. Manchester City, our baby blue baddies, they faced Leicester City. It was at King Power. The biggest thing that I noticed, other than obviously the match, but during halftime, there was like classical music playing in the background. That is horrendous halftime music Like, what energy does that help? Who does that pump up? Who? I don't know. Your team needs to come back from behind, and they got Bach playing in the background. I don't know. That's just not going to inspire me to want to run my body ragged to beat one of the best teams in the league. I don't know. That's just me. That's just me. Maybe the Leicester women, the Lady Tigres, they're the ones who are foxes. Leicester the foxes, yes, not the tigers. The Lady Foxes, maybe they were like, hey, let's elevate. Let us show that we're sophisticated. Let's play some classical music during halftime. Maybe they asked for that. And if they did, I digress. But if they didn't, whoever is handling the energy at that stadium, they need Jesus. Lineup. Keating, still doing her thing. Alexandri, Greenwood, Kennedy, Morgan. Roard, Hasagawa, Engeldahl, Chloe Kelly, Khadijah Bunny Shaw, and Mary Fowler. Found out that Hemp is nursing a hamstring injury, which makes sense. She had tape and stuff on her in the World Cup. That's possibly why she didn't start. I was very excited about this match. It's a chance to solidify our place in first. Leicester City, I knew they were going to make this match difficult. I knew we had the firepower to beat them, though. Our Baby Blue Baddies won 1-0. It was a very tight match. Chloe Kelly scored early on, and that was just because Bunny was doing her thing. This whole match was the Bunny show. What I take most from this match is the fact that these players have to almost murder Bunny in order to get the ball from her. And the calls that she doesn't receive, she's on the ground writhing in agony. And she can't even get the play to be called to stop. Like, she's on, like, truly, she looks in pain. She can't get a foul call for her. She can't get the time paused. It's just so frustrating. And she pushes a player off of her, and she gets called for the foul. I don't know what she can do about this. And I know I should talk about more in the match, but we won 1-0. The team played great. We fought out a win. Leicester made it very difficult for us. They maybe had a few chances. I don't know.
That whole situation with Bunny just it's very much giving Shaquille O'Neal in the NBA, right?
I was going to say that.
He was so dominant that people would be hanging on him and they wouldn't get called for fouls. He would turn around, dunk, or he would get called for kind of knocking him off or whatever. We saw the same thing, and we haven't gotten to this match, but we saw the same thing in the men's match when, Holland's getting bumped and like attacked basically by Billy Gilmore. So it's like, just because they happen to be physically bigger than some of the other people around them doesn't mean that they should just have to accept being abused and beat on and hit on all the time. And to your point, it's like, well, if there's no blood, there's no foul. Well, that's just can't be true. Mm-hmm. It just can't be true. Yeah. Can't expect a player to play through that.
Kennedy looked dominant in the air, knocking people around. There were some moments where I think she might stress me out trying to pass the ball around. That was about it. Alexandri. Other than the announcer not being able to say her name, I feel like they're just giving us the same person for every match, because he says Alexandri, and I don't know if maybe he's trying to give her the, respect where she's from, and that's him trying to do his thing. But there were like he was saying like Hasargawa. The way that was jarring. And then the Chelsea match with the camera operator, this is why I wish Tom was here, because he would be talking about the match, and I'm talking about all the things that kind of annoyed me and is unfortunate for these women. Mary Fowler, she did struggle a little bit in this match. She wasn't able to attack the offense like I thought she was possibly going to be able to do. That was why she was replaced with Hemp, I feel. And when Hemp came on, the game opened up a lot more. Engeldahl does great, but I feel like she's getting a little invisible. Yui was the player of the match of this, though. How many times she saved us, how many times she would slow the ball down. She truly is Rodri with a ponytail. I love her so much. And then Keating, the saves she made, just the confidence she has on the ball. Some of those long balls that she gave to Bunny, just kicking it across the field and just perfectly right at Bunny's feet where she could get the ball, turn, and take off. That was how Chloe Kelly's goal was. It was, what was it? Keating to Bunny to Roard to Kelly, I think, or something like that. It was 4 passes though, basically 4 passes, 6 touches, I think, and then there was a goal. It was beautiful attacking play, and I want to now leave the match because I guess, is there anything that you want to add to the match? Because I want to kind of focus on Chelsea real quick.
No, go ahead. You're good.
Yes, Chelsea, they did end up winning their match handedly. They ended up winning the match 4-2 against Brighton. They beat them. Shout out to Pauline Bremer, though, ex-Man City player. She scored first, and that was what put them ahead of Chelsea. It took to the 4th minute of extra time, even though I believe there was only 3 minutes of extra time. So it was like, where did that 4th minute come from? I don't know. There was an own goal. Chelsea ended up winning 4-2. Nothing in that match said to me that, 1, they can stop City from scoring, and 2, that they can score on City. I think they might be able to catch us. Obviously, they have incredibly talented players, Sam Kerr, Lauren James, like that, very dynamic players. But a lot of what they score on, a lot of what they rely on is just catching the other team with their athleticism. Our Baby Blue Baddies are a fairly athletic team. They are fairly fast. They're fairly strong. They keep possession. And so that's kind of a big thing. Chelsea, they themselves, they score mostly off of counters, but it's one of those things, they keep possession. The other team gets the ball, they get stressed, so then they force to try to score the ball, and that's when Chelsea takes advantage. I don't think they're going to be able to do that with our Baby Blue Baddies, and that's how I feel about the match. And that's why I really would love to hear Tom Bob's thought on this, especially after seeing Chelsea, because I don't think Chelsea this season, and this obviously can change in a month or two because the players will get comfortable a little bit, but this team, where they stand, because City face them very soon, I can see us winning this. I can see us winning this easily, and maybe winning by 2 goals, maybe even 3, especially if we're able to score first. If we're able to score first, it's over. Chelsea, they're just such a confidence team. So if you're able to punch them in the face, I think, and twice, because once pisses them off, I think a second time would deject them, and we'd be able to run with the match. So I'm looking forward to it. And it's international break for the women now. The men's
Right.
just finished, and now it's time for the women. And they won't be back for 2 weeks, I believe it is. They won't. Their next match is against Arsenal on November 5th.
Right.
I am bummed and hurt for Bunny and the Jamaica Federation, what they are doing to our women.
It's kind of weird what's going on there. I don't understand it. I don't know all the details, but I know that there were players.
Nobody knows the details.
Players said they weren't coming back in or something to that effect, and then threats, and it's just ridiculous. But
yeah,
I don't understand how a federation who historically has not backed their women's team, they've had to go and find supporters, find vendors, find people who will help get them to World Cups and do all this stuff. You had to basically go find it on your own, literally having to crowdsource some of the stuff for this last women's World Cup. But yet you want to put demands on these women? That just makes no sense to me. You don't back them, but you want to tell them where they're supposed to be when they're supposed to be there, and if not, or else, it's just utterly ridiculous.
They're the ones who are giving you all the attention, bringing all of the money to your federation at the moment, but yet you won't pay them. You won't give them any communication because they fired their previous manager who had brought them further than they've ever been. Even in the statement that was released, that's what it was saying. They gave us minimal communication, acknowledgement of the new manager. We wanted to be very much a part of it. We still haven't even been paid for previous matches. And I know it's probably because they've been blowing all their money, and any money that comes in has to be spent elsewhere. But another thing, what I will say is, I feel like it was before the qualifiers, they announced that it was like some stupid amount of money. I feel like it was like $20+ million was going towards the Jamaican Federation to help prepare the women for the competition and the Olympics and stuff like that. When I heard that announcement, when I saw that announcement, it was maybe 2-3 weeks before their double matches, their double ties against Canada. Yes, millions of dollars is good, but what does that do 2-3 weeks before their biggest match currently for that federation happens? What can $20 million get you in 3 weeks? There's only so much training you can do with that. And also, that's a great number, but $20 million, and then these players come out and say that they haven't been paid. So it's just like, is it Uchiwali or is it one mic? I don't know. It's just very interesting.
Yeah, they say, I'm reading an article on ESPN, and it says that it was due to constant mistreatment. It's not a one-time thing. It's not one thing only. It's constant mistreatment. Says the team did not receive full and correct payment for their World Cup performance or bonuses for qualifying for that tournament. They talk about some of the communication standpoint and how it was in an untimely manner and through unprofessional communication, talking about the coaching staff and all that kind of stuff. So
they were just like DMing them.
Yeah,
it was probably crazy.
They've got a number of complaints and frustrations that they're voicing and they're lodging. So it just sucks for those women.
Truly.
And I hope they figure it out. If that means they need to get a new, president of the federation down there, or whatever it means, whatever changes they need to make. But you just can't keep treating these women like that and expect it to just be okay. Someone's got to step up and do something. So
I have a clip of Gareth Taylor before the Leicester match, Sharpie last season, because Tom and I are very, we have opinions on Gareth Taylor. Let's put it that way. And
y'all want the man gone.
Yeah. And Sharpie asked what I needed to hear from him. And I had said I wanted to feel inspiration from him. I wanted more than his soft politician-ass answers that he seems to give in pressers. And there would even be times where he would kind of put the blame on the women. And I hated that. And I wanted to feel like he was opening up. I definitely think he's making those changes this season. Shout out one. He's killing it in the fashion game. That stepped out. That's been obvious. But what I want to play a clip from the previous match. This is people were actually asking him about the squad depth and the lack of transfers over the summer.
Yeah, but I certainly think it's most people might have looked at it as maybe a weakness that we haven't done much business, but actually I saw it as a strength, and we see it as a strength, that continuity with players that we trust and that we work with. And I think that's probably the biggest thing for a coach these days, is having time to work with players. So it's so difficult with the international breaks and obviously the major tournaments in the summer. But for us to be able to continue with the same team, same players, that I think has certainly shown signs, particularly of our performances in the first 4 games, of a real strength of ours. So I was really pleased with the way the players have started the games.
Still, very polite English way, but he was sending shots at people. I like that. We're getting there, Gareth. We're getting there, Gareth. You're getting me to back off a little bit. I am no longer saying we need to get him out of there, especially after watching what Arsenal's doing. Like, we are not in their situation. We're not in United's situation. I'm just thankful. Truly. Wow. Growth.
Take that piece of shit and get off my stoop.
I know. This is the unfortunate thing about us not having more pod mates. I know I've been talking, but I'm about to get ISO. I'm getting on my stoop. I've been annoyed about something for a while now. I thought I was over it, but I'm not. Wolverhampton, when we played them, they got very upset about, Pep and him saying #the Korean guy. That Sunday, I came in and I pushed back on the grief that Pep was receiving for supposedly not knowing his name. Nah, goofs, he knew the name. But if you've heard Pep speak English, which, yeah, he's gotten better, but do you really think Pep is at home speaking English, working on his diction? He knew if he tried to say the name and butchered it, he would get killed. So he said, the Korean guy. Next week, he attempted the name, and he didn't land it, as expected, and you killed him again. So it's like, he says the Korean guy, you kill him. He tries to say the name, you kill him. What do you want? Since then, I've been coming in, I've been playing clips of Pep struggling to just say English. He does it all the time. Here I am again. I have Pep messing up a player's name.
Alistair gone, so Caldwell, Chelsea player, Colwell.
Chelsea player, Colwell. Shout out to Levi Colwell. Where are those Wolves fans now that were up in arms about the Korean guy? Pep can't keep going around saying all these players' names wrong. He's the best manager of the world. He doesn't know every single player in the world? What? Who does he think he is? Wolves fans losing their minds about Hwang gave me the same feeling I had when Sheffield United fans came at me on X for only typing Sheffield, not Sheffield United, because I could have been talking about Sheffield Wednesday, their rival. Only problem is we are City supporters and City play in the Premier League. For what reason and what timeline would I need to be talking about Sheffield Wednesday? Focus on these silly little battles when your focus should be the Premier League. What's in front of you? Wolves. Your team has fallen off a cliff and you were a loss. Like last year. So close for being relegated. So close. Why are you so focused on Pep's English pronunciation when Spanish is his obvious first language? Why have you not continued that energy, huh? That's all I want to know. Why aren't you coming out Pep for Colwell? Protect Colwell, right? Like, support all players. Is that your energy? Were you offended? Or were you just pushing ugly narratives because your football club gives you little joy? Ugh. I feel like every single week I just start a new beef with a new team.
Well, in this case, you revisited a beef with the previous team. So you just doubled down on your beef with
Yes,
folks at
I'm
Wolverhampton, the Wanderers or whatever they are, Wolves. I don't know, whatever their name is. I don't know. You know, again, like with any football is tribal to a certain extent. You always look at it through your team's lens. And so I get it. They were upset because it was their player. And while maybe there were some who tried to make it a more generic point, the reality was they cared because the player was on their team. And so they took offense. They took it personal, you know, and they shouldn't have, uh, but they did. And so I think you rightfully called them out on it. But, you know, again, if, you know, we get offended if people say, you know, negative things about Foden or Stones or Grealish or whatever. So it is what it is. I'm not going to stress too much about it, but I get it. If it upsets you and you need to step up on the stoop every now and then to set some record straight, you know, do what you got to do, homie.
Well, and it's just because they were trying to make it like a racismo thing. Like,
okay, so that's something different. See, I didn't see that.
Well, because they were just like, the Korean guy, what does he mean by that? And it's just like, are you saying his name would not be difficult for someone whose English isn't there? And that's all it was. It was just,
even if he forgot his name or never knew his name. Again, I'm trying to.
That was probably it. He just doesn't know his name, so he's like the Korean guy. Like, bro, either way, it's like not everything has to be this like giant slight. The fact that Pep, the best manager in the world, is bringing up your player, maybe like that, I could get being upset because he doesn't say his name or whatever, but maybe try to understand the other hand. But like Wolverhampton, the team's social media made a post with the Korean guy. They made a whole thing of it. It was just I don't know. It was just very lazy. It was very English of them to like make that a thing. It was just like, how many of your actual fans know his actual name, can say his name the right way? It was just very frustrating. Obviously, it was obviously very frustrating.
It upset you.
Yeah, man. Especially when y'all are just like, there are so many atrocities and offenses and stuff in this world, and for y'all to literally take the Korean guy and try to run with that and try to add just like ugly to Pep's name, like, do one. You should be happy that he was trying to give love to one of your players. Y'all are in what, 13th, 12th? Should have been happy he was talking about y'all in the first place.
I mean,
y'all got me bringing back last season's petty Crunk.
I mean, you know, we all saw the picture of the Arsenal women's team, the picture that they took, and if by chance they added one non-white player to their squad, and I didn't know their name, and I was just like, you know, the black chick. That's not being offensive. That's because there's only one on their team. So I'm trying to tell you which player I'm referring to, and it just is. That's the easiest and best way to make sure you know exactly who I'm referring to, as opposed to, you know, just any random player on the team. So again, I think it's a lot of making a mountain out of a molehill, a lot about nothing. But you know, it's Pep, it's City, so it's always going to be something.
We are always the most important. All right. Well, let's get to our match against Brighton. Starting 11 from Pep. Woo! From the first name on that starting lineup, I knew this match was going to be wild. In our FanFest Live, shout out to y'all, our kickoff show. In real time. That's a good thing about it being live and the bad thing about it being live. My brain was buffering. Once I saw that lineup, I saw Ortega Moreno, and I didn't even look at the rest of the lineup. I was just like, all right, let's figure out everything else I'm trying to look. Because it's funny, I complained about Ortega started. I didn't complain. Maybe I was just like, why is Ortega? Maybe Ederson's sick or something. And Talmon was like, no, he's in the bench. And I was like, oh, what?
I just think, again, just coming back from the international break.
And that's what people said.
There's a long travel, a lot of travel coming from South America all the way back over to Europe. So there, I think that's a part of it. Ortega, I don't think is representing his national team. So, he got to stay at home and rest and practice and whatever. So I get why Pep did it. And again, Ederson's not the only player that we would point to that, kind of came back from a national team break and didn't play. You got the Nathan Ake's, you got the Ruben Diaz's as well. So I don't feel like, and you weren't saying this, but he didn't single out Ederson for, oh, you're not going to play, but everybody else is, right?
Yes.
He was somewhat consistent. We know John Stones went away and others, but he was fairly consistent with who played and who he rested. So it was a shock for sure. Nothing I say should try to minimize that, because it's definitely, anytime you don't see Ederson's name in the starting lineup and it's not a cup match, it's a shock. We know he's going to play the cups, but for him to get a start in the league was like, oh, wow, okay. So yeah, it was a surprise.
Yeah, that was his 4th Premier League start since he's been here. Whew. But it was before I had even thought about Ederson playing in national team, because normally that doesn't stop anybody. It's just like, when has this affected Pep? When has this made Pep change the way that he does his things? Sorry, let's get to the lineup. Stefan Ortega making his 4th Premier League start. Walker, Akanji, Stones, Vardiol, Rodri, Bernardo, Daku, Foden, Alvarez, and Haaland up top. I thought it was Pep giving us like tactical goalkeeping. I knew it was like Pep's galaxy brain. It was evolving. And that's what it felt like. I know Ederson had played. Actually, did he play? I thought it was Allison. I know he traveled, whatever. He's tired and stuff like that. But I definitely think that it was purposeful. I think he played Stefan Ortega on purpose. I think he's just using international break as an excuse. And the reason why I say this.
So today I doubt a lot of the lineup, because I guess a game like more transitions, because it's both teams man-to-man or more aggressive. You use more ball than usual, and that provoked to make a transitions. And I thought with Phil and Jeremy, with this space, could help us. I thought a lot to put Mateus and Mateo in that position, because in the transition, Mateus and Mateo, they are really good, especially Mateus. But Bernardo also, the way you want to press, and that is so intuitive, always so important for control. That's why I decided for that reason.
Do you hear the way he's talking? It's so fast. He's just like, I was galaxy brain. He had thought 1,000,001 ideas for this match, because he respects De Zerbi, rightfully so. He didn't know what he's doing. I don't know. I guess before the match, because Brighton, they had lost a couple. They needed to make this win. I know we're at home, and City are dominant at home. Were you worried that this could potentially be a loss for City, Terry?
Worried may be too strong, because I feel like Brighton probably hasn't been at their best recently. And again, it was a match that we were playing at the Etihad. So being at home, and I think we had just talked probably on the Thursday night lit stream about how the Etihad has become that fortress. It is that fortress. I think we had played 20 straight matches in all competitions and won. So it was. I wouldn't say it was a concern or whatever. I think I was fairly confident that if we came out and we played the way we should, that we would get the win.
Ooh, okay, so this match. Ball kicks off. Brighton and City go back and forth trying to impose their football style. Matoma for Brighton looks giddy to face Walker. And that was kind of what threw me off. Was Matoma didn't seem to hesitate to run at Kyle Walker, which is respect. It would not. I know the whole Matoma to City saying is just like jokes because it's like a respect to Matoma, but Pep really does respond to players who come at us with confidence like that. That was how we got Bernardo Silva. That's, I don't want to say his name, but that's how we got Mendy. That's how we got a few of our players, honestly, was we faced them and then they were just like, we're not scared of you. We're going to kick your ass. And Pep was just like, okay, join the team. I don't want to deal with you. Foden, Baku, from the jump, they were feeling themselves. I loved it. 5 minutes and 40 seconds into the match, there's a moment where City are trying to move the ball up the pitch. Brighton, nice, compact, pressing all over the place. Ball ends up at Rodri's feet, and he just dinks the ball over everybody. And that right there, I was just like, that's what I've missed from him. It was just the calm to do this one simple move that is low-key incredibly difficult, but he just has the confidence and the ability to do so. Shortly after that dink that he made, because the ball got recycled back 3 or 4 times, I believe. From what I've seen, the plan is to give Daku the ball early. Very similar to, let's bring his name back up. Big man, Shaq. You give that person the ball as often as you can early to get them on fire, to get the other team to potentially throw away their game plan, and then you can adjust your style later into the match. But
oh yeah, this is again, you mentioned Shaq in this setting. When Shaq gets a little dude in the post, I don't care what the game plan is. You throw the ball down to Shaq against the dude in the post and let him go to work. It's a mismatch. It's this is not, this dude can't even guard me down here. Give me the ball. You just demand it. And I think Daku saw he was lined up against James Milner, who is probably almost my age. So I just think Daku was like, oh, I'm about to eat. Give me the ball. Let me go to work. And I'm sure Pep, that was probably something that he called out and wanted to isolate in that, those one-on-one matchup. But even if he didn't, it's such a mismatch at this point in Milner's career that you got to get that man the ball and let him go at him. And, whether that was Foden when he was going at Milner a couple seasons ago, you take advantage of that mismatch. And so, yeah, give Doku the ball early and often, let him go to work.
Yeah, what I loved leading up to that goal, yes, you pass it to other players, but for the most part, it was like Rodri to Gavardiol to Daku. And then if things wouldn't work back, the ball would end up back to Johnny Boy, who would then give it to Rodri, who would give it to Gavardiol, who would give it to Daku. It happened easily 3 or 4 times. And on the assist of Daku's, it was because he had constantly done that whole dribble up, get to the byline, pass the ball back. So when he did that, he a little dummy to make it look like he's about to pass it back. The Brighton defender jumped back. He said, no, bro, I'm going to dribble past you, and crossed it in. That is the point of recycling the ball over and over again. You really do have to lull the defender to sleep. I loved it. Even out, the goal was so wide open for Alvarez. He could muff the kick and still score. Unless maybe that was what he was trying to do, but it definitely did not look like he got the connection he wanted.
Yeah, I think everyone is in agreement that it wasn't the best most pure contact that we've seen from Alvarez. But again, you just right place, right time, and you just have somebody who's just just has an instinct for putting the ball in the back of the net. And so even when when everything isn't just perfect, it still is good enough to score the goal. So, and again, it's one of those things where it's exactly what we want. We come out at the beginning of a match. We come out at the beginning of a second half of a match, and we press really hard to try to get that goal, get those early goals. More so if it's the second half, it's because we haven't scored in the first half. But we come out of those breaks with the passion and a hunger, and we're aggressive. And so we came out that way. Again, Daku was doing his thing, and we got the goal that we were hoping for, and that sets the table for the rest of the match. So
yeah, having Rodri and Stones back brought a calm and a cool to our defense while also making our offense more difficult to handle. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think
it's one of those things you don't realize how much you miss them until they're back.
Well, I won't say that because I think I realized how much we missed them while they were gone, especially Rodri. It's like, dude, you got 3 of these games we got to wait? We got 3?
How
Good
many?
Lord. I mean, man.
You guys can't even appeal it just to see what would happen?
One is bad enough. We got 3 of these without him. But I think, again, going back to the lineup, you see Ederson, Diaz, and Ake are on the bench. But you do see that Stones gets his start. And I think most importantly is, Rodri's back. That was the biggest thing for me. It's like, okay, we knew he was coming back. It wasn't a surprise, but it's like, oh my God, we get him back finally. We've missed him. Let's see what we can do with him. And I think it just sets the table so well. So yeah.
Matoma. I know I've said his name a trillion times, but dude is just such a baller. He's legit an and one baller. I mean, we can talk about the whole match and everything. I don't mean to jump so far ahead. The goal that they scored on us, what he did to Kyle Walker was disgusting. He's sprinting. Kyle Walker, full of himself, confident in his speed, is just jogging next to Matoma. Matoma still is just sprinting. So then Kyle Walker turns up his speed, and the second Kyle Walker gets to like an actual sprint, that's when Matoma stops and cuts in, which just breaks Kyle Walker. He then goes into retreat. Then Matoma turns it back on. Kyle Walker almost fell. Kyle Walker was on skates at that moment. Vinny Jr. hasn't done to Kyle Walker what Matoma has done to Kyle Walker, which is making me say, is Matoma better than Vinny Jr.? Well, obviously that's not true, but when it comes to dribbling, that young boy is fucking nasty. I just so much respect to Matoma.
I definitely don't think it's a case of Matoma being better than Vinny Jr.
Yes.
I think Kyle, you got to remember when we played Vinny Jr. in the lead up to that Champions League victory, he had kind of been out of the lineup for a while. He had a point to prove. And so I think we saw Kyle at his best. And he's been playing at that level since he kind of had that spell out of the lineup and got back in. He's played like he's playing for his position every single week, which is why we've seen him every single week. I don't know that he necessarily took Matoma too lightly, because you shouldn't have. You've seen him do enough that this dude is a baller. So I have to come with it. But I don't think, and again, to your point, maybe it wasn't a matter of Kyle not being at his best. Maybe it's just that Matoma was just that good. I just like to believe that Kyle at his best can handle anybody, but he struggled a little bit with Matoma, and that's not something that we see very often with Kyle. So it was kind of jarring to see.
Yeah.
And again, I don't want to overstate it. It is what it is.
But I mean,
But
yeah,
it's
exactly. It
being
is what it
honest.
is.
Hey, he had some joy going at him.
And it's funny because the first watching it live, I was like, because I've seen Twitter, and Twitter X was being like, yo, Matoma's got Walker in trouble. Watching the match in real time, that was my city dumb. I was like, nah, man, Walker's doing great. What are you talking about? We watched today. That's what I saw, and I was like, okay, no, Matoma's doing his thing. He's handling homeboy. Pep also said a few weeks ago that this is the most. It's not necessarily that Walker is playing more than normal. It's Walker's playing a lot on top of what he's asked to do now. Usually it was just the traditional right back where you would just focus on one half of the pitch and just making sure that anybody who got near your part of the pitch was shut down. Now he has to be helping fit offensively and distributing the ball, and there's a lot more that he has to do, a lot more running, and he is not a young spring chicken anymore. And that's all I ended up too. Getting Welbeck's ass coming off in 14 minutes because he's not a fucking starter. Duh. Mans is a sub, an adequate sub at that. He shouldn't be starting. I know Brighton, Deserby had to do what he had to do because of injuries and whatnot. Now you're down another player because you played a super sub as a starter, and that's just not how it was. I really thought Ferguson coming on was going to help City. It did not. And actually, immediately, James Milner, that's when he got that crazy foul on Daku. And I can't say the crazy foul because it wasn't a foul. It wasn't called a foul. It was a 50-50 that Milner got a whole lot of Daku, and Daku went above and beyond to avoid the tackle and hurt himself more. Hopefully Daku learns, bro, just run into the person. If he would have just ran into Milner, he probably would have took Milner out. But he was worried about oh boy, because that's what you kind of do in the French league. You hop over the person, you roll on the ground, the ref pauses the game because it's the French league. In the English league, the ref looked annoyed. Everybody looked angry at Daku for both him jumping over Milner and then he got cleated by a player. And so he was rolling on the ground because he got cleated badly. Both of those instances, the ref and players around him looked pissed that Daku was still on the ground, even though with Milner's tackle, he probably had the wind knocked out of him, which takes a moment to get yourself together. And with the other, it was just like, bro, this cleat, and the cleat legitimately went into his leg. And I was waiting for VAR to look at it. Yes, if you would have gave it a red, that would have been harsh. But I at least want to see people look. VAR looked at, what was it? VAR looked at something really silly. Oh, the Alvarez push. If VAR can look at the Alvarez push, and that can potentially be a red card, why can Daku that be a red card? Because I know the guy wasn't looking, and he was just moving and whatever, but even that felt purposeful because he tackled him, and when he tackled him down, it was a very rough tackle, and then he just like jumped over him and then glanced black at him. That's how I felt about it. It just all felt nasty. It just the way that Daku was being treated in the whole match, honestly, is awful rehashes of Sterling and the lack of calls that he would give when he was just getting his ass kicked all over the place. And now we're seeing it again with Daku, and I'm seeing it with Bunny. And I know sometimes you melaninous people get upset about us complaining about this shit, but it just frustrates me to no end.
Well, I think when Sterling came over, there was the talk that he had a reputation that he had built up at Liverpool, right? So if anytime he didn't get a call, it was, well, he's got a reputation of going down soft, or he's got a reputation of being a diver or whatever. So that was used to justify why Sterling didn't get those calls. But to your point, we saw Daku in this match getting a lot of the same treatment, where he's being fouled and no one's willing to blow the whistle, or he's being overlooked or whatever. And there isn't that, right? So it takes away some of that agenda of, well, if he didn't go down so easy, he would get more calls. What do you say in this case? The man's barely been in the Premier League for 6 matches? More than that, 7 matches, something like that. So you can't tell me that it's anything other than either a City agenda against City, or an agenda because the man's, he looks like me and you. He's a black man. And so it's like, And again, I don't know which one of those it is. I'm not even going to try to say which one it is. But what I will say, something is up when that man's not getting no calls that seem obvious in many cases. So
it was so frustrating, especially by the end of the match. More so on the rewatch, because in the first time you're watching, you're like, yeah, this is him getting similar to the Sterling no calls or whatever. Watching it on the second end, you're like, bro, this call. And then there'd be moments where Milner would be on some bullshit and would either receive the call or something like that, and Daku wouldn't get the call. And then Milner, for a line out or a free kick after that, would then waste time. It would take like 10, 15 seconds for him to kick the ball. And it's okay, so not only are you giving him the whistle, you're now even going to just allow them time waste. And I know the mindset is they're losing. Why would they time waste? The time wasting pisses off the team that you're beating. It throws them off. They're expecting the continuation and all that stuff. So time wasting can help even when you're losing. And that's what I was seeing, was a lot of time wasting, because the crowd will boo. And they know if it's pissing off the crowd, it's for sure pissing off the players. I know that's what you got to do. When you're playing teams that are better than you, you have to get creative with how you play a team. When I was my City fan back in 2014, 2015, when we were playing in all these European Cups and all this stuff for the first time, yeah, I was like, okay, yeah, sure. Fernandinho, tactical foul. Yes, go, baby. Get them to play City play. And now we are who we are, and I'm seeing these people doing this bullshit, and I'm like, fuck those guys. It's amazing, this change. My cat is losing her mind. She got out of the apartment and caught a flea, and so she has like this rash on her butt, and she's really licking a lot. So that's what this cone is about her head. She will not leave me alone. She wants to cuddle. I don't know why. My allergy. People who are listening, they're probably like, man, sounds like he's got sick or he's allergies or whatever. That's why I sound super nasally right now, because she will not leave me alone. Normally, my allergies are great, but something about her right now is throwing me off.
So you just called yourself.
Oh, damn, did I?
Yeah, which I don't have a problem with. I mean, I just didn't know if you intended
but
to
it
do
definitely
that.
breaks character. No, thank you. I mean, I probably would have cut it out anyway. I would have just cut out the word.
Because you were just talking about the cat, and you were like, "Oh, if you guys see, it was like, oh, sounds nasally." Well, so yeah.
This allergy's got my fuzz brain. I'm breaking down. Side note, I mean, people just don't call me it. If you call me it, I'll block you. I will block you. When I was recording an episode with Hassan, I told him my name, and he's like, I'm gonna like call you that throughout this recording. He didn't, but I appreciate it. And I was very nervous because I was like, I don't want to tell you no because I want to work with you more, but please don't do that. It was just very weird.
It's like, yeah, I have the persona that I take on when we record. I'm my normal, this other person at a different time. But anytime I step into the city content sphere, you got to be who you are. So it's all
Yeah.
good.
I mean, and he did a great job as I got him to kind of relax and let his guard down, he did the same thing to me. Luckily, I edit, so I was able to kind of cut out a few of the things because I actually got a little spicy, and I had to cut that out.
Interesting. So you're saying that there's some lost takes that are
oh yeah
coming
oh
out.
no, I have them saved. There's actually, for you people, there's a whole pre-record chat that him and I had that I plan to send to you guys, my podmates, because he said he was fucking spitting from that bitch.
Interesting.
I was like, oh, I needed to hear this.
I thought you were gonna say he's gonna go on Patreon, but okay, it's top
No.
secret. We can't even share it there. Okay.
No, because I was kind of talking about some of the
okay, I got you.
With.
I know where you're going. Gotcha.
And
Yeah.
so y'all can't know about the drama. Y'all can know that there have been drama with us, but you can't know the specifics of the drama. But no, there has been some drama. I mean, it's been a while, but there was some drama.
So we've taken a little bit of a detour. But Holland, who we know is inevitable, gets his normal everyday run-of-the-mill tap-in that he always gets because we know he's a tap-in monster. That's all he can do is just, get tap-ins. So in that 19th minute, of course, he gets that tap-in. First of all, they said the man was broke. They said that he wasn't scoring like he used to. And he got that 19th minute tap in from outside the box. So yeah, it's good to see that man get back on the score sheet.
It's been a while since we played this. Oh, such a fucking slap.
So yeah, once we get that goal, man, it's at this point it's like, okay, 19 minutes in, we've got 2 goals. Quite honestly, I was expecting at least 1, maybe 2 more.
At least.
And come to find out, we're not going to get them. So I was a little disappointed in that respect. Again, not because I feel like, if we don't score more than 2 goals, it's a problem. No, I just felt like we had got 2 so early that, the floodgates were going to open up and then we were going to get 3, get 4. And they have a history of conceding a lot of goals too. So I thought all things were going to kind of coincide that we were going to end up with, 3 to 4 goals at the end of this match. But to their credit, they played, I guess, better. I think we took off some of the pressure a little bit. We weren't going as hard for those goals, especially in the second half, as maybe we were early on. So,
and I was trying to watch in the second half to see why we weren't scoring more, and really it was just we weren't taking advantage of the few chances that we did have. The point was to stop scoring. I really do hate this, and I'm just going to give it to Tom Bomb, this marinification of Pep. We shouldn't. The 2-0 lead, they say, is the most dangerous lead in football. All it takes is 1 goal, and we saw it with the Brighton match. They scored. Yes, it was late, but I legitimately felt that they could score another. It felt like they could score another. They hadn't shown that they could score another, but when you score, I mean, the way that they did.
I mean, yeah, they didn't even show that they could get the first one, but when they got it, it was like, okay, now we're in it. Because when you're 2-0 down, you're right, it's the most dangerous lead you can have. But you still feel like, okay, we're going to control possession. We're going to do what we do. And we'll just see the game out. When they get that first goal, even as, for the fact that they probably didn't deserve that first goal, but they got it nonetheless, then it becomes, all we need is one more. Let's just go get another one. And anything can happen. You can get a goal. Again, Pep talked at the beginning. You played the you played the little clip of him saying, about being on the counter and in transition, and how that was what he was concerned about. Well, when they get to within one goal, now anything can happen. So I was a little not, again, it's hard to be disappointed. I'm disappointed that we gave up the goal, because again, you think that there's a clean sheet that we should have gotten. It's hard to be upset with whether it be Akanji or whoever, because again, my man tried to block a shot. He blocked it. It just wasn't able to clear it far enough, and it just fell right where it needed to fall for them to come back and score. So it kind of is a little bit of luck on Brighton's side, but then there's always going to be some degree of that. And so you can only just hope that you're far enough away that when the other team gets that stroke of luck, that they can't convert it, or even if they do, they're so far down that it doesn't matter. We were lucky that at the end of the match, we realized that goal doesn't matter. But there were some moments after they got it that were very nervy.
Yeah, it was. Well, I felt like they weren't going to be able to score another goal, but they scored off of Alvarez, had a chance at an open goal, and took it. Obviously, hindsight is 50-50. So you're like, if he just would have said, nope, I'm going to hold on to it and pass it back, that potentially could have killed off the game even more, because mentally Brighton was like, oh no, this is our chance to give up a goal. If he would have just been like, no, we're comfortable, let's just restart it, that might have messed with Brighton's mentals even more. It obviously would not have given the opportunity for Brighton to score. This is all what ifs, and I kind of hate those. But I feel like most of the goals we give at the end of a match is one of those, what if we would have just done this? I'm tired of these what ifs. I felt like at the end of last season, the way we won that treble was we knew who we were, even if we were like, hey, let's pass off on this potential chance to score. That's okay, because we know we have another one coming up. I don't think this team at the moment believes that. I think they need every chance they can to score. Because even like Phil, he was great. Pep kept him on because obviously he was doing great. He took Alvarez off. I think Phil was pressing, and not in a great way. A lot of times in the match, he would just run right into three people. Even, what was it? Was it one of the chances that we scored off of when Foden dribbled into three people and then luckily got the pass off with his left foot and then like nutmegged the player?
Yeah,
and stuff
I
like
remember
that.
the play. I don't know if we scored.
That could have
off of
been
that,
really
though.
bad.
Yeah.
That could have been awful. And there were multiple times in that match that exact moment happened where he got surrounded by three players and he took them on and lost the ball. That just happened to be one chance where he actually got the pass off. I think he lost a lot of those chances, and not in a good way. And he was pressing when other people weren't pressing. And that has been Pep's big thing about Foden ever since ever, was you need to know when to push and when not to push. And he seems to try to make a situation every time. He wants to score every time, and you can't do that. I mean, that's what worries me a little bit.
I think for Foden, the criticism that non-City supporters have kind of thrown his way is, well, he doesn't even start week in, week out, right? And so I feel like when you are a player that you believe, and I think in my case, I believe that he should probably be starting every match. So then you feel like you got to go out and show something special in order to maintain your place next week. Because if I don't do something special, then maybe I won't be able to. I'll be taken out of the lineup instead of just letting the match come to you and whatever he's trying to force it. But you're right. There's a number of things that don't come off, but there's also those number that do. And so I would never want him to feel like he has to take down or change up his game in that respect, right? Still be Phil, still be that creative, attacking, kid that's going to come at you. Still be that. I'll take that more than I would him just changing up completely and just being super passive.
Yeah. I mean, it's no different than which I think I want to see a couple of more games. We need to have a discussion about Grealish, but it's not the discussion that you think. It's not Grealish is shit. It's not Grealish isn't doing what he needs to do. It's, oh my goodness, has Daku's arrival and the fact that he has hit the ground running, that he's running at players, is that what's messing with Grealish? Because Grealish, for his entire Aston Villa career, was the man. He never had anyone potentially question him. And technically, when there were players who popped up and started questioning whether Grealish was the man, that's when he moved to City. And even his first season at City, Pep made him as welcomed as possible. Made him be like, hey, yo, you're the only dude for us. We're even going to play you when you're not doing well. We're at a point now where Daku's playing before him because he is the obvious hot hand. This is so many circumstances and experiences that Grealish has never dealt with. This is tough. And I'm not saying we need to have this conversation now because I still want to see more. Maybe the change can come. Maybe this Wednesday or Tuesday, whenever we play this midweek match against Young Boys, maybe he comes on and he kills it. Because I know Daku's going to get rested because Pep was talking about that. I'm shocked that Daku was playing well in spite of all these matches. Well, that's why I know I'm going to see Grealish. I need Grealish to go crazy and show that he is who we all hope and want him to be. I don't think he's going anywhere. I don't think nothing's going to stop him. I just want him to succeed because he plays for the team I root for.
My internet is acting up right now, but what I will say is, I think it was Thursday in the lit stream we talked about what is 3 pieces of advice we would give to Daku. I think it was when we were talking, right? And I said, just don't, be you, or don't try to change up or whatever, right? The concern that I have with Daku is that he tries to change his game to fit into this Pep style, which means he becomes a lot less attacking. And because I think with the comparison between Daku and Grealish is so stark, because Daku, when he gets the ball, he's going to come at you. Maybe he passes, maybe he tries to shoot, but he's coming at you downhill. He's got you on skates, and he's not just got you on skates to kind of go sideways. He's got you on skates because he's trying to come at you and trying to get you driving backwards. I think what we've seen with Grealish, on the other hand, is he's probably just as tricky with the ball. He can do just as many things with the ball as Daku can. But when he gets you kind of on your heels, instead of coming at you and getting you off balance, he's more apt to kind of cut inside and kind of go away from you a little bit, whereas Daku's coming right at you. So it's just the difference is stark, because you can see one right next to each other or one right after the other, and you're like, oh, I like that other style better or whatever. It doesn't mean that one is a better player than the other. It's just that, people have their preferences for how we want the game to be played. But at the end of the day, I think having them both is what is going to get us where we need to be long term in this season. It's not one or the other. It's both and. Both Daku and Grealish. Both and. So.
Well, I guess anything else before we move on to shot
I'm
balls and
good.
applause?
I'm good with the match. I think again, we got the victory, so that's the key piece for us. So yeah, I'm good with that.
Wow!
Shock all and Premier League applause. Man City was in first, Arsenal second, Liverpool in third, Tottenham in fourth, Aston Villa in fifth, Newcastle sixth, seventh is Brighton. Burnley, Bournemouth, Sheffield United are sitting in relegation station, looking like their tickets could be punched before Valentine's Day. That's amore. In spite of Chelsea seemingly turning things around, they will sit closer. They, at the moment, sit closer to relegation than they do the top three. Will Arteta being messy about his keepers be the reason the club falls flat on their face? Brighton and United clinging on for dear life? Who or what are you giving your shock, awe, and applause to, Terry?
It's kind of hard because I don't know that any of these teams really deserve applause.
Honestly, it was a very dull week.
I guess let's see. If I look at the full table, Aston Villa is in 5th place. I think that is probably, and they got 19 points. Tottenham and Liverpool both have 20. In this last, when did they play? Did they play? When did they play? So they beat. Did they play Friday or was that? They played Sunday. I don't know. They just beat West Ham, right? So 4-1. So I guess I'll give my shock on applause to Aston Villa. Oh, and if I want to give applause, I would say my applause is going to go to to Ollie Watkins. He's been on a very hot streak recently. So kudos to him.
I was very worried about them too. Even after their Aston Villa's big win against Newcastle, I didn't know if that meant anything. I was hopeful for them, and so to see them in 5th still feels fake. Like I'm waiting for something bad to happen for them. I hope they keep that energy. They should. They're talented enough. It makes all the sense. It makes all the sense. I want to give a quick shout out. It can be a shock and an applause to Luton Town. Y'all have managed to get out of relegation station. You're safe. I mean, you only have 5 points, but the other teams have 4, 3, and 1 point. So you're fine. I think you're going to be able to get out. You have a win and a draw, which is 1 is 3 more points than any of those people in relegation. If Luton Town can stay out of relegation and stay in the Premier League for a second season, that's going to be huge for that club. And like I said, all my hate, my vitriol got sent to Sheffield United. So, fuck you guys. And also, fuck James Milner. I didn't say that earlier in our match. Tom Baum and I had a nice, good conversation about Milner, fuck that dude. Fuck that dude. I hated the Champions League, so I had to bring a little energy to it.
Oh my goodness, you are too much. So we got the Trap Champions League
Oh, that's
anthem.
hilarious.
Okay.
Oh man.
All right.
We take on BSC Young Boys. They sit second in the Swiss League at the moment. This should be slight work. This would be a chance for us to all but clinch our spot in the knockout round. How are you feeling about this match? Let's give a quick score prediction. I assume we win. You?
Yes. Like you said, this should be. And again, I hate saying that because then I feel like I'm jinxing the team, but this should be straightforward, right? This should not be a problem. This should be a 3 or 4 goal victory. So yes, I think it's light work. The only question is, and I need to see like what the standings in our group is at the moment. We are in what group are we in? D, nope. Group G, that's right. So yeah, this is play 2. Yeah, I think we should go there. I mean, it's there, right? We're away. Are we away? You're on mute, whatever you're saying.
It's away.
It's away.
It's
That's
that
what I
way
thought.
door.
Yeah. So even with that, I think we should go there. Pep in the Champions League has tried to play those away matches kind of close to the vest and whatever. It doesn't happen in this match. Depending on what he goes to the lineup, doesn't really matter what he goes to the lineup. I think we should come out 3-0, 4-0, somewhere in that region.
And I agree. There should be we should be able to run it up. This isn't a match that we score 2 and we hold on because we respect their offense. We need to beat them down. Like, this is a necessity. If we don't score more than 3 goals against them, I will be bummed. Truly. That's it.
Yeah, but I think what was the I wish I knew. What was the for us our first when we played whatever that team is, Red Star Belgrade. What was the final score in that match? Do you remember? The Red Star 3-1. Yeah. So this should easily be a 3-0, 4 maybe 4-1, but yeah.
Yeah. If there's a match we're gonna keep a bloody clean sheet, it should be this one.
You would think.
It needs to be this one.
You would think.
Yes. Yeah. As long as we keep a clean sheet and we score more than 2 goals. That's what I want. 2-0 win, 3-0 win, 4-0 win, even away. I don't want us to let them score. I need us to score multiple goals. And it's more just, again, I need it for my soul. We had a chance to score multiple goals against Brighton, and we scored 2 and then gave up 1 late. I just need a feeling of this domination that we used to have at one point in time. And the reason why I also feel like we need our team to play well is because of this weekend. We will be playing Manchester United in the Manchester Derby. We will be doing a live watch along for that match. Check in the Linktree link in the show notes. I also will be leaving an individual link to the lit stream and to the watch along party. You can register for it. You can set a little timer for it so you're warned and you know when to hop on live. It's going to be a vibe. How are you feeling about this match, Tarek? What are you thinking about this match? How do you see it going?
The thing about any derby match is that they're always unpredictable, right? They're always, you kind of throw out the records, you throw out all the table and what's happened in the past because it doesn't really matter in a one-off match. So being that we are going there, I still think again we should beat this team. Um, their best player at the moment is Scott McTominay, quite honestly. Um, so that's kind of crazy, but we should win. I think, but I don't know that it's 6-1. Although I would love it. I would love it, absolutely love it. But I'm gonna go City 3, United 1. I think maybe yeah. I'm gonna go 3-1.
Yeah.
What are you calling?
Yeah, unfortunately, they're going to get a goal. They just always seem to score a goal, unfortunately. Well, I can see 3-1. I love that scoreline. If we can win 3-1, that'd be great. 2-1's not good enough, especially because they beat this weekend Sheffield United 2-1, and they were ecstatic with that win. Bro, if I beat Sheffield United by 1 goal and I had to work harder than I have all season for that win, I wouldn't be as positive as these United fans are. But hey, short memories. It's good for you, I guess. Yikes.
So I look at their back line. They've been going with the last match I think I saw they had Delo, Maguire, Johnny Evans, and who else was it out there? Oh, Lindelof. I feel like that back line should be able to be got at.
Oh, yes.
But, we just got to go do it. So we'll see. But yeah, I think whoever's on our wings, Delo and Victor Lindelof, should be able to be got at.
Easily, especially Lindelof, especially Dalot.
Yeah.
He's an offensive dude.
Right. And if we push him, if we pin him back, make him defend, because he's on their right side, I think. So he would be matched up against Daku. If Daku goes at him, then it could be a long day for Mr. Dillo.
Yeah, I'd be shocked, honestly. I feel like it's going to be a Grealish match. I would love Daku to start it, but I, for some reason, think it's going to be a Grealish match. I am looking forward to kicking it with you all Thursday night for our lit stream. Our lit stream spectacular, baby. Costumes are highly appreciated. You can even take a photo, tag us, let us know. This is the vibe I'm wearing. Starting at 5 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you do those time conversions. Sunday for the Manchester Derby. Turn the television down and our watch party up. Loud, baby. In fact, make it a vibe. Link us to your Bluetooth speakers. Get real comfortable. Prepare the environment. That'd be nice, yeah. Going live with watch along 30 minutes before kickoff. Links to both the lit stream and watch parties in the show notes. Follow us on all of the social media accounts. We got the app formerly known as Twitter, X. There's TikTok, Instagram, Threads, YouTube, Blue Sky. Our Shades of Blue are on all of those. Either search Shades of Blue Pod or search Crunk Chocolate or search on Twitter, X, Crunk Phoenix. You'll be able to find me that way. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to leave a comment and hit that thumbs up. If you prefer audio only, rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, or however you enjoy your podcast episodes. We will read those reviews on the next episode of Shades of Blue. Please give us a review, y'all, even if it's like it's good. Smiley face emoji. I'm okay with that. I just need some kind of reviews. Anything. It can just be like Jay. I'll take that as a win. It could just be a W. I'll take that as a win. Thank you. Tarek, my fantastic co-host, please let the listeners know where to find you.
You can find me on Threads at TK Peterson 12. Yeah, Threads. Do Threads.
Do Threads. And like I said, I already said my stuff. And if you hit the link and you see our Twitter has all of us on social media, our ats and our bios, so you can find us all that way. All those teams have fun. You know the vibes. Shady gang. Shady gang. Shady gang.